What up, y'all? Welcome to our first ever episode via the Zoom call of the Pick and Roll podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Fridline.
And I am Alan J. Pandit. Yes, as you can see, we are on Zoom. We're trying something new to see if we can
Well,
upload
spice up.
more for you guys. Yeah. So today is another episode of Indy-Analysis. The name's definitely catching on, I'm telling you. And
I think it is. I think it's genius.
and today we'll be talking about the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'll pass it to Frid.
So the Milwaukee Bucks for the past, I'm gonna say 3-4 years have really been a force to be reckoned with in the league. Obviously, they have their primary star, arguably the greatest player in the NBA, but in my opinion, not very arguable, Giannis
Yeah.
Antetokounmpo. Um, so all that to say is they don't really have a whole lot of huge moves that they need to do this offseason
Yeah.
because they already really have a set roster.
Yeah.
But that's not saying that they're perfect. We'll get into that. As we do, we like to start off with kind of laying out their primary rotations. So the starting lineup for the Bucks currently is their big three in Drew Holiday at the one, Chris Middleton at the small forward, and then Giannis at power forward.
Mm-hmm.
And then so all three of those guys can get you a bucket and can play well on the defensive end for sure. And then a shooting guard, you got Wesley Matthews. Not good, but definitely serviceable. Can stretch the floor, knock down shots if you need him to. And at center, you got Brook Lopez, who's aging but still, useful. And then off the bench, you got players like Grayson Allen at the shooting guard. I know he doesn't get that good of a rap being a dirty player and all, but he'll get you a bucket. He's averaging about 11 points a game. And then you got George Hill also coming off the bench. He's actually a pretty key piece in this Bucks rotation, simply because when Drew Holiday needs to come out, they still need a facilitator, someone that could, spread the floor, get the offense moving.
Yeah.
And George Hill's been in the league for a while. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also got Pat Connaughton behind Chris Middleton. Definitely good. I personally, I like Pat Connaughton. I feel like he's a little underrated, but and then we got Bobby Portis, who can play the 4 and the 5. Super intense, super talk about those bug eyes. He can also stretch the floor and lock up most of the power forwards and centers in the league, which is key for them.
Yeah. Going off of that, I kind of want to talk about their biggest strength is that is their two-way complementary players. It's no secret that Milwaukee has Giannis, the best player in the NBA, but I think their other key to success is the players surrounding him. Every player on the Bucks roster can shoot the three ball at an above average level. Even their big men like Lopez and Portis, they're pretty decent shooters themselves. So while they let Giannis be Giannis and drive to the rim and dunk on everybody, if he ever gets stuck, he can just kick it out to any of their players, and they can be ready to shoot the three. And defensively, though they rank 14th in defensive rating, individually none of them are really like super weak defenders. Even though you have a player like Brook Lopez who is slower, he's an elite rim protector and he's a really strong help side defender. So they play Giannis at the free safety position, help side. And if they need to, they can put him on their best player. So very versatile lineup, right? They have, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, kind of at the beginning, this team is really set as it is right now, but not perfect. And one way I think that it's not perfect, quote unquote, would be the lack of their guard depth. I feel like the Bucks just need that one player that can come off the bench. If Drew Holiday is sitting out or Grayson Allen's out, or God forbid one of them is injured and out, indefinitely. The Bucks need that other piece that could not only spread the floor, someone who has the green light shooting, someone who can get you a bucket, but also someone that could play good defense on the defensive end. The Bucks have really established themselves as a team that can really lock up any offense thrown at them. So I think they want to continue treading that way and get someone who can kind of like a 3-and-D type guy who can also facilitate the offense, keep the ball moving, not let the ball stagnant, and utilize, Giannis. That's not. I'm not going to say that's like super like it has to happen now, But if they really want to, get to that next level, compete with a team like the Warriors or like, the Boston Celtics or whatever, I feel like it would be really in their best interest to fill that hole for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And
Yeah.
looking more at the roster, we try to analyze any salary issues they had, and we've really found none, except
Yeah.
maybe Chris Middleton is getting a little older, a little less durable, a little more expensive. So, but that's not really an issue as he's still producing at an all-star level.
I agree. I would say
And
once he
yeah,
like, um, really starts, declining. I feel like right now he's plateauing, but
yeah,
if he starts declining, I would say definitely renegotiate that contract for sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And going into what they did in free agency so far, they re-signed a bunch of players such as Bobby Portis and Pat Connaughton. And don't forget Thanasis Antetokounmpo, the biggest
The
re-sign of them all.
Nasus.
So, but
Yes,
one
sir.
one free agency signing they made that could be really interesting is that they signed Joe Ingles.
Joe Ingles, someone who's really kind of been, I feel like irrelevant's a mean word. Not irrelevant, but
Maybe for the
someone who,
past year he was kind of irrelevant.
yeah, because I feel like no one's really heard of or thought about
Yeah,
Joe Ingles really until his Utah Jazz days. Like, what team was he on last year?
the Trailblazers.
The
So
like, I'm gonna be so serious. I didn't really know that. So, but he's definitely capable of surprises, like how he surprised the entire sports world by saying that he could beat anyone in the league in a one-on-one.
Hey, you never know,
Lot.
man. You
I
never
like
know.
the confidence, Joe. I like the confidence. I don't know about that. I mean, he really is he does kind of fit where the Bucks are treading.
Mhm.
Definitely can spread the floor.
Yeah.
Definitely can shoot. I don't really know a whole lot about his defense. Um,
He's a pretty good defender, as
yeah.
he's like 6'6" or 6'7". He's a pretty
Hmm.
good defender, and he's
Yeah.
not like super athletic, but he's a crafty player. So
Exactly. And what I know about him is he's smart. Like he knows his
yeah,
shortcomings. Like he's not gonna really blow past someone in one dribble, and maybe he's
yeah,
not gonna stay in front of you completely on defense. But
yeah,
he just does everything right. Like his footwork is impeccable.
yeah,
He'll outthink you for sure.
yeah,
So who knows? Maybe
yeah,
maybe that could be the surprise. Maybe Joe
yeah.
Ingles is the piece that
hmm
this team needed.
Maybe, yeah. Another thing about Joe Ingles is that he can play the guard position and maybe even the point guard. So that'll be interesting to
Hmm.
see if they fill that point guard facilitating score role with him. So we'll
Yeah.
have to see.
Yeah.
And I we were able to come up with one trade that kind of made sense, but since the Bucks are already such a complete team, this is the only one that really makes sense and that they're
Yeah.
contending and they're not looking to improve drastically. So the idea is to get TJ McConnell, they'll get TJ McConnell, and they'll trade to the Pacers, Serge Ibaka, and 2 second-round picks. And obviously these are just
Hmm.
baseline. These are just baseline kind of trades, and they can be
Yeah.
adjusted. But the idea of
Kind of
getting
just
TJ McConnell,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Kind of just attacking what we said.
hmm
We're trying to find that guard.
Yeah.
Kind of be like a spark plug, come off the bench, get you a bucket, play good defense type thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much all we have for Milwaukee since and like we said in the last episode, not every team is gonna be like like the 76ers or like another or like a rebuilding team that needs a lot more in-depth analysis. Like if you have a
Yeah,
team like the Bucks who are already at that championship level, they don't need much analysis and much improvement. So
for sure.
yeah, that pretty much does it for this episode. You want to
That's
say
all I
anything?
got.
Yeah, you want to
That's
say
all.
anything to the fans?
To the fans, well, I mean, I could always, kind of plug the socials. I
Plug
mean,
the
you
socials.
you don't gotta ask me twice. You can always just hop on Instagram, even hop on Apple Podcast. You know what, Alan? I want to talk about this right now because there has been some confusion. How
Mhm.
can they find us on Apple Podcasts slash Spotify?
So
Right? Did I get that
yeah,
right?
and Spotify. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So on Apple Podcasts, just because there are sheer amount of people who have the name a name could with the Pick and Roll podcast kind of in it.
Yeah, but they don't have the special touch that we have. That's
They
unbiased.
don't have the actual on court
Dude, that's what I'm saying, and they
chemistry.
don't have the charm and the looks that we have. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody has a name Pick and Roll podcast, we changed it to the PNR Pod. So it's kind of abbreviated, but at the same time. So you can look that up on Apple
Yeah,
Podcasts or Spotify, or just look up one of our names, Alan J. Pandian or Jonathan Fridline, and it should show up on either
yeah,
platform.
And if you're
So
still
yeah.
confused, you can always go on Instagram because it was on our last post.
Yeah, it
So, but
was.
to find that on the Instagram, oh, I know you're asking. Look up the. You have to type the word "the." Okay, it's
Yeah,
necessary.
yeah, yeah.
The pick
Mm,
roll
podcast
podcast underscore
underscore.
underscore.
And
Nice.
that's a wrap.